dead! He's dead! Cody, I killed him! Hey, Tiger 2! Tiger 2! Cody, what's over here? God! Stay, Cody! Stay two, God! Tiger 2, 300! Stay 2, God! Tiger 2, 300! Stay 3, God! Tiger 2, 300! Hey, we lost Cody! Stay 2, kill 3! Stay 2, kill 3! Red alert to snake! Red alert to snake! That's it. Ring the bell. Guys, shot goes to the corner. Shot.
Well, hello.
What's going on?
I think we are live.
Right on. So welcome to show number 13, to the infamous live show. Typically we have some of our pro guys on, or we have some divisional guys or someone in the infamous family. But today we actually reached out to some of our sponsors and someone in the industry you may or may not know. If you don't know him, you should know him. I want to introduce Ledz from Planet Eclipse to the show.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks.
So, how is everything going over there? Like, what's going on? Are you guys going through the same stuff we are, as far as the whole lockdown, quarantine stuff in England, or
Yeah,
what?
I think so. I mean, I think we got into it a couple of weeks before you guys, and then you seem to have come out of it a little bit quicker than we have as well. I don't know if that's because you guys are sort of walking around with real guns and going to the town hall and saying we're going out now, and we haven't got real guns. So I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it's such a weird. I mean, it's so strange. You wake up every morning and it's like, I don't know what's going on, and doesn't really feel like there's much light at the end of the tunnel in the UK at the moment. We're at the stage in England where we're allowed to meet 6 other people, 5 or 6 people in a group can be together, but they have to be 2 meters apart. So the shops aren't really opening. The supermarkets and things like that are open, but there's no. There isn't any social gathering. I mean, paintball is completely closed.
Really?
There's nothing. Yeah, there hasn't been any paintball since March. And it's the season now when all the paintball fields are should be busy. And it's a shame, and it's really hurting a lot of them. But I mean, as far as Planet is concerned, I mean, we've started to bring in production staff very slowly, but we are in a situation where we haven't got different suppliers can't give us our, what we need. Like, for instance, we might have a load of barrels there that need anodizing, and if the anodizer is closed because for whatever reason, the staff can't work because they've all got kids and the kids should be back at school or in nursery or whatever it is, and they can't because they're all closed, then they can't go to work and anodize the metal, so then we can't get the metal back to stick it into packaging to send it off to people. So that's what's sort of happening, and it almost sort of feels like we're being being held to ransom by a few. I mean, it's not their fault, but it's we're getting. I mean, I field a lot of the Facebook messages, and we're getting emails. Where's my LV 1.6? Where's my GL4? Where's my this? Where's my that? Well, can you tell me where I am in the list? I'm like, I have no clue. I mean, every day is another sort of adventure, really, and we're in the UK. We've got an office in Rhode Island, and shipping from one to the other is an absolute nightmare at the moment. I mean, we had, I think we were having an increase on one pallet going across the water, where it went up by about $4,000 on top of what it would normally cost us.
Wow.
So if a pallet, I think it's about 120 guns, something like that on a pallet. So you have to monetize that across there, there, and you've already paying for it to get across the country as well. So a lot of freight goes on commercial airlines as well. A lot of people don't realize, and when that there's no commercial stuff going, so it's just an absolute nightmare. So.
Yeah. I mean, we've noticed the same thing. Just trying to bring in, different Infamous products. There's, there's not even half. There's probably like a quarter of the flights is what there used to be, and
yeah.
You used to be able to get freight on any plane here and there, and now you just have to wait. And a lot of it's being like, certain flights are dedicated to like personal protection or some type of medical, items, and it's just prioritized. And we're unfortunately
and it's stuff
down the list.
you can't complain about it, can you? You've almost got to go. I mean, it's I'm sat at home, I'm healthy, and my family's healthy. The company's is in a good position. That Planet Eclipse isn't sort of going anywhere. We're quite good at that sort of thing, and it's almost sort of going. If my sending over a load of barrel condoms from wherever, and PPE equipment, face masks, for the doctors, save some lives, and I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, it's frustrating, but it's if it saves someone's life, it's good, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Shut up and get on with it, really.
So I guess while we're on the topic of Eclipse and that, I mean, let's start at the beginning. How did you actually get into paintball?
Like way back in the beginning for us, new
Like,
guys
did you ride
that weren't around,
Did you take a dinosaur to the field, or?
Yeah,
Or
hold
maybe
on.
even
I've
alive
got a
at that
photograph. This is not very good for a live. Let me get a picture. One sec.
While he's
All right,
grabbing that picture, I just wanted to throw out there to everybody that we're going to do a live promotion during the show. So if you go to the website and use a code live show, you can get 15% off any protective gear like elbow pads, knee pads, slider pants, any of that stuff.
So I don't know if you
what's
can
that?
even see this. Can you see that? All right,
Here,
so
let me
this here, this is me. Oh, there. In 1986, my first ever game of paintball, and it was
Western themed.
It was no. I mean, I was 17 at the time. I think 16 at the time, and you had to be 18 to play. But went down, and they weren't real paintball guns. They, I don't know if you have them in England. We have the fairground. We have these sort of BB guns that you sort of break, and that's how it powers them. And then you put one pellet in the back, and then you cock it up, and then you shoot a target at the fairground. That's what we do in England anyway. You probably sort of AK-47 sort of things, isn't it? But and what you did was there was a little tube about this long, and there's a paintball pushed into the tube, and you put the tube on the barrel, and then you would cock it, pull it back up, and you would shoot. And if you missed the guy that you were shooting at, he could get up from where he was, run to you, and shoot you before you could reload. Pretty much. And that was like my goggles weren't really compulsory. It was a bit of like, yeah, we've got some goggles here if you want to wear them.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Wild West. And then
what kind of FPS was that?
No idea. It was, I mean, it was just whatever it was. I mean, if you go to the fairground in the UK, you know, kids can cock these things. These things, you needed to put the tube on the front to get the leverage because it was so powerful. You know, they'd obviously cranked up the springs, and that was, I mean, that was for me was just, that was the first time I played, and I absolutely loved it. You know, it was, and then I went with somebody else who arranged it, and then from then onwards, I was the guy who was arranging to go play paintball because. I got a deal. I went for free if I took 20 guys, or I'd get a few hundred extra paintballs or whatever it was. So it'd be me going, to my workmates or to my school friends. Come on, let's go play paintball. And they don't know that they were sort of they were getting me a free day really. So and then it just sort of went from there and there and there, and on and on and on. And as a load of my friends sort of stuck around with me and they enjoyed it as well, and then we sort of formed a team. Which was, and then we went off and had quite a bit of success sort of doing that, which was nice because it was still with my friends, and then sort of moved on from there really.
So how did like at what point did you decide, hey, I want to start a paintball company, or I want to get into this as my day-to-day job?
I was, I mean, it's documented. We've done a video called Unemployable, which is, I'm not sure if it's actually online again now. But anyway, if anybody wants to go searching that, if you look for Unemployable, it's a story about me and Julian, which is my business partner, and Jack. And it's just how it got started for us, really. I got myself into debt because of paintball, because I'm an idiot and I was 17, 18, whatever it was. And so the paintball store in Manchester, where Jack Wood, who still works for me now, his uncle owned it, and I used to go in there on Saturday and help with sales on the Saturday behind the counter. Me and Jack played in the same team, and that's what I was doing. And I was basically every Saturday, I used to go down and watch Man City play football, and it'd be, you have to pay for my ticket. I'd go to the boozer, have, a bunch of drinks, curry after, whatever it was. The whole day, might cost me 150 quid. But then instead, I was going into the shop and earning some money, so I couldn't do those things, and it was, it helped me with my debt. At the same time, we met Julian, who he had his story is completely different to mine, but he had a load of paintball products sort of thrust upon him because somebody owed him a load of money, and he basically went, well, here you go, you can have this instead of payment. And he went, what am I going to do with this? He didn't know what paintball was, and anyway, he started traveling around selling the gear. So he would also come into the shop on a Saturday, and he would sell his gear from the shop really. So that's how we got to know him. We all started playing on the same team. And then the owner of the shop, a guy called Graham, who is Jack's uncle, his wife got really ill, and terminally ill, unfortunately, and he just wanted out of the business, and he had other businesses, and I was working at a rubbish sort of typing on computers, sort of data entry rubbish, nothing really, and I was very, very passionate about paintball, and I just said to Jules, do you want to should we buy this place? And I mean, the story goes that I was going out on a Friday night, and I sat in the bath at home, had one of these, the big long phones with you pull the aerial out the top. So I sat in the bath, and I phoned, because I had no money, and I phoned up the bank and I said, I'd like to buy a car, and I need £5,000 to buy a car, and because that's how much it was going to cost. It was going to plan it. We basically cost us 10 grand between us, and I said. And that's so they said, yes, we'll authorize, you can buy a car. So I came out of the bath, got ready, went out, and I talked to my friends. I said, I'm going to buy a company. I'm going to invest this $5 grand. So I came home the day after drinking heavily, and spoke to my dad, and I said, this is what I'm going to do. My dad said, you're an idiot. And then he said to me, but don't go and get money from the bank. I'll give you the money. So he gave me the money, the $5 grand. And if you speak to him now, he would say he wrote it off the second. He might as well have set it on fire in his mind. And he still, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I love my dad to pieces. We're really close, and he still thinks I'm still messing around, and I'm not really. I've not got a big business, or I've not. It doesn't really compute with him. I mean, he was a mechanic, and he had 4 or 5 guys working for him, and he was very popular and well liked, in the area that he works in. But he thinks he's the man, and I'm just like this. I just still mess around, paintball and whatever. So it's yeah. So that's how it started, and that's and then we took over the business, and then we went from there really.
So was the name of the business Planet Eclipse? How the name is so unique? Where did that even come from?
It started off as Paintball Planet,
Paintball
and then we started to do the beginning parts of our range was we called the Parts Eclipse. So and there's always a story, isn't there? And the story of why we changed our name is we wanted to register our company as a limited company, because we were sort of doing everything on the, you'd sort of, when you start a business back then, it was like you're just bundling your way through it. You haven't got a clue what you're doing. It's like, oh God, I've got to do this, got to do that. So we're just doing that. So it got to the stage where we said, right, we're turning over enough money. We have to be limited. We have to do it properly. We have to do this. And there was another paintball company that we knew. He'd gone off and registered our name, sort of like secretly, and then and we didn't know, and it was like, oh, okay. So he was I can't remember the exact conversation, but I think he sort of tried to sell it to us, Paintball Planet, and if you register the name, you have to maintain it as well. So you can't. It's not a case of it costs you no money. You have to maintain it and give in books at the end of the year and all those sort of things. And so we just went, right, sod this. We're going to just change the company name. And because we had the Eclipse range going on, and because with the Paintball Planet bit, we just went, okay, it's going to be called Planet Eclipse from now on. And then that's when it changed to that.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, obviously, I do remember like the little parts that said Eclipse, and it just said Eclipse, and then the drop forwards and stuff, and then that's interesting. It's good to know.
Yeah.
When did I heard you mention Jules and Jack? When did Jacko kind of come into the mix? Because in the U.S., we see Jacko a lot more. We talk to Jacko from the business side of it. So
there's Jacko, and then there's Jack Woods. So
yes, right. Jack Wood. Don't say Woods.
Familiar.
Jack Wood. Yeah. There's okay. So Jacko was quite a sort of famous-ish guy, I suppose, in the UK, in terms of he was playing for the UK Predators, and they were an absolute dominant force in Europe, and they did very well in America as well. Probably the only sort of English team to ever really do well over there. And he at the time was working for WDP, with the Angels sort of stuff like that, and he wanted a change, so he then started to he ran one of my stores. We had a store in Manchester and we had a store in London, and he ran the London store, and that was always like a bit of a satellite store for us, and it was probably sort of treated like that. It wasn't fantastic, and his wife was doing very well for herself at Hasbro. She was like very high up in Hasbro, and she was flying back and forth all the time, and she got the opportunity to go work at Hasbro head office in Rhode Island. He came to us and said, listen, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go with my wife. We've got this opportunity to go to America, and I'm going to go. And he said, so I'm either going to leave the company, or if the time is about right, then let's set up over there. And it wasn't quite right. It was probably about 6-9 months ahead of where we wanted to be, really. But it gave us the push to go and do it. I mean, we were making sort of, Eclipse cockers at the time, which was our sort of main thing, really. And then so he went out there, and we said, okay, let's do it. And that was it. That was the beginning of it, really. I mean, he worked out of his his spare bedroom for quite a while, and then we eventually we started getting enough product to sort of start warehousing it and sales staff and that sort of thing. So that's how he came.
History.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good lad. I mean, we've been friends for a long time. So it's that's what it's like at Planet. I mean, Jack's been there, since day. I mean, Jack was literally, when I bought the place, it was like, you'll get this phone and you'll get these bits, and there's Jack, and he'll still be here. And that was how it went, really. And he's sort of still there now. So
nice. So so that's good. And I love getting like a little bit of the history from the company, and so you guys are kind of established in the UK. You just came over to the US.
Yeah.
What was like the most like memorable moment in the company history? Was there like a turning point at which point you guys are like, all right, we got this? Because there was so much competition back then. I mean, Angel from England was hot. You know what I mean? You had all this different stuff going on, and so.
Well, we sort of put it down to different milestones, sort of through through the time, and there's not really one thing. I mean, we bought a fax machine one year, and that was a massive thing. I mean, literally back then, it was like, well, how do we get orders? And suddenly you get this fax machine and you plug it in. And, and it was like, $200-300, and but we didn't have $200-300. So we bought this, plugged it in, and then we sort of did an advert with, contact us, and here's our fax number. And all of a sudden, one day you come into work and there's like an order from America, and you go, what's this?
We made it.
Piece of, this is before the internet. I mean, this is a long time ago. This is 91, 92, 93 sort of, time. And those are the sort of, that's a very small milestone, but that's a milestone that we went, should we buy a fax machine? I remember talking about it, and we sort of went, should we get one? And Gilles was like, oh, do we need one? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then, eventually, obviously we bought one, and, and then you get your website going and all that sort of thing. And then, there's all sorts of little things, but we, the thing that put us on the map just to not be just another paintball store was when we started making our hinge frames for our cockers, and then when we made the electronic frame was the first big product that was sought after worldwide. So that was the sort of thing that made people go, "Who's this company?" They make pretty cool stuff. They're not making crap. They're backing it up. They're doing a good job, and that was a very sort of pinnacle point, really. And then, we sort of customized a lot of. I mean, we were a custom house, really, and we were. My team back then was called Banzai Bandits, and we would all use different guns. It'd be from, it started off with automags and autocockers, and then we had Icon Z1s and Impulses, Shockers, all Angels, etc. And we would customize them so that they would work better, because, I mean, if you've been around, as Travis, you've been around long enough, that you buy a gun back then, didn't work. I mean, you'd literally buy a gun and it would, not actually work. I mean, we would have a delivery of cockers or automags or whatever, and they'd just be shit. And they'd be like, a customer would come in, and I'd go, you'd sell them the one off the wall, and you'd sort of show it to them, and then you'd go in the back to get one out the stock room, and you'd almost be going, gas it up and go, I hope this works, and then you'd shoot, and you go, oh, thank God for that. And otherwise you just have this pile of broken guns everywhere, and it was just a nightmare. So so we customized everybody so we could have these guns working as best we could for ourselves as a playing team. And then the team did well. We started off, we were these young kids, the new upstarts, really. And we broke through the establishment in the UK and in Europe. And then we started to get respect, and people wanted to buy our equipment. So that was obviously, that was good, because they were sort of going, how come your guns still work and it's minus whatever temperature? Because we put inline regulators in our guns before anybody was putting inline regulators on the guns, or Jack did, should I say. And then so it sort of went like that, really. And then once we were established, we started doing, we did a lot of Angels, and then we had a bit of a falling out with those guys over some other things, doesn't matter. And then we sort of went, right, okay, it's time for us to make our own gun now. And one of the reasons we made our own gun was the fact that they were absolutely awful when we would buy them, and there was no support of anything. I mean, back when we first made the Ego, 2004. 2005, you couldn't get a spare part for guns. Just, I mean, automags are okay because you got those little, if you remember, there was like big black kits, kit's great. Autocockers a bit harder, but there was it was the Intimidators that was like was the thing, that was the machine gun, wasn't it? It was super fast. But we used to sell them in our store, and people loved them, but they break, and when they broke, the one O-ring we couldn't get, or the one widget we couldn't get, and it was a guy's got a $1,500 gun, and I'd go, yeah, you need a 2-cent O-ring to fix that. I haven't got any though, and that was sort of very frustrating for us as a store owner, because our store wasn't just Planet Eclipse stuff. We sold everything. We were a distributor for Dye and Kingman and and all these sort of people. So we used to sell everything, and eventually we just said, oh, we've got to be masters of our own destiny here, and we've got to go and sort of create a product instead of customizing other products, because. Like with war games, we ended up selling our blade. Our E-blade frame to them, and they made the war blade. So we would supply the circuitry and the basically the intelligence of the program to run it. But if war games would have suddenly just gone, oh, we're going to close down, well, we wouldn't have had a customer. and that's the same with all of these things. And eventually you've got to take the risk and say, this, if we get it wrong now, it's our fault. Everything we do wrong from this point forward is something that we've got wrong. So we took the plunge and took the risk. And I think the first order of them was like, I think it was like 200 guns. And that's, I mean, it sounds ridiculous now to say 200 guns, but it was if it wouldn't have worked, we would have been gone. Because to tool up for 200 guns, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of, if say they're $1,000 a piece, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's all the time and effort and energy and the research and development and you don't make any money out of 200 guns, basically. You've got to, when you're designing packaging and manuals, you order 200 manuals off the guy up the road, he's going to laugh at you when you go, okay, well, that's $20 a manual now, and then that goes on to the how much the gun cost to make. So it was a big risk, but it paid off, I think. And, we've sort of done all right out of it. So it's, and that's the sort of, so back to your question, what was the one point? There wasn't one point. There was just lots and lots of risks. That we were in the casino and we bet on black a lot, and it came in, and it's nice. And that was, and it, and I say that to myself all the time. I'm not this amazing businessman, and we're not an amazing business company. We're people who are very passionate about the game, and we've taken a lot of risks over the years, and they've paid off. And I think it's a lot of the reason is because the people that work for us put their heart and soul into it as well. They're all good guys and girls that work for me. It's and they believe in the product, and they want to get it right. So that's cheesy.
No, it sounds like.
I was going to say.
Go ahead, Cal.
I was just going to say. I mean, obviously, you've been all over the place. Planet has made so many different amazing products itself. Is there one that sticks out to you that is your favorite?
I'm an Ego fan, so it's I love the Ego platform. I'm sort of very fortunate, obviously, if you're into paintball, I get to test all these sort of guns. It's very rarely do I have a gun given to me that's standard. Jack will go, oh, take this, and he'll go, give me a call about lunchtime in the middle of a tournament. I'll call him and go, this gun's awful. And he'll go, yeah, I found a part that I forgot to put in. Or something, it'd be like, what? And he'd be like, yeah, sorry, or I put in a new thing in there, it's broken, or well, that's how we test things. And Jack's very good at, he knows I can break stuff quite easily. So, and I'll say it's because of the testing process, but I'm quite lazy when it comes to mechanical stuff. So I've never learned how to do anything. I couldn't, if you gave me people come up to me at tournaments now and say, oh, can you just help me get my gun into ramp? I'm like, I've got no idea how you do that. I've got zero. And one of my guys will sort of walk up, he works for me, who's on my team, and just grab it and go, oh, give it here, I'll do it, sort of thing. And it's but I'm a big Ego fan. I shot a CS2 all last season because we sold out of Ego, so I thought it made sense for me to shoot my most up to date gun. But then when we decided on the LV 1.6, I was like, yes, get one of those for me. So that's I'm going to get my own version of that, just because I just like it. I'm not the sort of person who, when I play, it doesn't have to be very refined for me. It has to perform really well, and I like a nice snappy bite of a shot. It doesn't, there's when I've had the CSs or the GO 3.5s and that sort of thing in the past, I've almost sort of gone, oh, it just feels too sort of smooth and too nice. And it's sort of, I don't want to be nice to the other person. I want to be sort of quite angry. And I like my guns to be sort of quite angry and sort of snappy and have a good feel to them. And Jack will say to me, he'll give it me and go, what do you think of that? And I'll go, yeah, it's all right. And he'll go, trigger's too nice, isn't it? I'll go, yeah. He goes, should I just pour a bit of sand on it for you to make it all sort of gritty? And I went, yeah, probably.
Snap, a little bite.
Yeah. And that's how I like it. And I've always just liked the trajectory that the gun shoots at and how it feels in my hand. And I think with paintball, the marker that you choose as your favorite, sometimes it's that tournament, when every time you pull the trigger and it hits the guy, that becomes your best ever marker. And it's not necessarily the best ever marker. It's just that you pull a trigger and the guy sticks his head out into you, and you're a hero, aren't You know, there's
Yeah,
a
the
3
experience.
Yeah, and it just for me, every time I've had an ego in my hand, it's always been that experience, and I've not had as many of those experiences with the Geo platform. So, you know, and I was a big Cocker fan as well. I mean, when we were on Banzai's, we were half sponsored by Smart Parts and half sponsored by Cocker, and that was me because we were using the Smart Parts Impulse, I think it was at the time, and I hated the thing. I just couldn't get on with it. And I went, you know, and I knew Bud, and I said, can I just, and Charlie at the time, I don't, you know, and I just said, can you just let me have a Cocker so I can shoot that? So if you say I'm sponsored, I can probably get away with that. And they went, yeah, okay. And they gave me one, and I went off and used it. And, you know, and then the very next tournament, I shot somebody amazingly, you know, like it was a 4-on-1, and I shot everyone. And therefore it's, you know, that's the next best thing in your life, isn't it? So, but yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I've had loads of great experiences with our products, and we love it all. And everybody, it's weird when people say to us, "Oh, the Geo 3.5 is the best gun you've ever made," or the SL this, or the that, or the this. And I always sort of go, it's not actually, because we've made it better. Every single time we've made one, we've actually made it better, and we've got rid of some of the things that were wrong, and we've put these different improvements in there. But the experience that you've had, and if that's in your memory, and then that's, you know, happy days and great. So.
Yeah, no, we Infamous shot egos to start, right? Because we came on pretty early with the ego thing, and then I remember, I don't know how many years in it was, but you guys were like, "Hey, we've got this new gun. It's called a Geo, and it's a spool valve," and we were like, "What?" And then I told the guys, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna stick with our egos." And then a couple of the Geos got on the team, and you know, then it was like 50-50, and it's just like you talked about with the Cockers and the Smart Part guns. It was very similar. What did you guys decide on that? It was just a shift in paradigm in paintball where people were like, "Oh, let's have spools."
Well, I think at the time we'd sort of not maxed out how many we could sell, but we would sort of got to the point where we went, right, what's next on, you know, and we do the same thing exactly now. What's next for us? And Jack said, well, I've got this design idea for a spool valve, and we said, okay, well, so we started to look at it, and that was obviously what became the first Geo. And we had production meetings, and we sort of said, where's this going to sit? Is this going to sit? Is it going to be higher up? Is it going to be lower down? Is it going to be the same level? And Jack was quite excited about it because it was, if you remember at the time, everybody wanted spool valves because they shot more fragile paint, they were quieter, they were smooth, you know, that sort of thing. So, and people still wanted that. But there was always the problem with the maintenance. It was, you know, they had 5,000 O-rings in them, and you had to grease them every time. So there was, and Jack said, they're over-engineered. I can do a much better job with this. So he was really excited about it. So at one point, I think we were like, almost, should we drop the ego line and just move over to the spool Geo? And we sort of went, well, no, because, you know, we've created a fan base, and you know, and we still love the Geo, the ego, sorry. So we just said, let's pitch them at exactly the same level as each other. Let's give them both the same amount of love. You know, let's make them in the same sort of cool colorways, or in, you know, the same packaging and all those things. And then let's just sort of let them duke it out, really. And like you said initially, it was with the pro teams that we sponsored, we didn't tell them to go down any route. We said, here's the guns, which ones do you want? You know, you choose, and we won't push you. And, you know, there'd always be an influx of different players coming from different teams, and some of those guys might have already shot spools, so they'll pick up the spoolie and sort of go, oh, okay, you like this, or they don't like it, or they'd never shot an ego, so they'd try one of those. And if basically what happened was the Geo won the fight. It's almost like the grey squirrels versus the red squirrels, and the Geo actually won the battle, and ruled the roost for a long time. I mean, the numbers. I mean, even now, if we were in full production of all of our guns, which we're not, if we were, I would say you'd probably sell 7 spools for every 3 poppets. I'd say that's about the split that we'd have now. The people who, I mean, you'd have a good fight because the people who like their poppets are pretty passionate about it. You know what I mean? It's, you know, they're going down hard if they're going down, but there's you know what it's like. There's some people are quite vocal about certain things, and I mean, the amount of people who shout and scream at us, "Where's the LV2? Where's the LV2?" You know, and it's like, oh God, man, you know, stop asking us the same question. They're like, we're not going to ever stop asking you. We must have it. So I told this story. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
going like
I don't know
this.
if you can see our chat right now, but our chat
I
is just
can't
lit
now.
up with. It's like
Is that-
LV2, LV2, LV 1.6.
yeah.
Like
Someone even asked if a GoFundMe campaign would help get the LV2.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really. It is to do a little bit to do with money, and it's how many. And the LV 1.6 was that was a money thing as well. It was how many we're going to sell. Sometimes you get, and I'm sure you guys have seen it with your products, is that you get a small group of people who shout really, really loud, and when it's through social media, you just get bombarded with these people screaming at you, and you think, wow, we need to make, I'm being told that I need to make, slide shorts with frills around the top of them in pink. Right, and you sort of eventually go, oh, we need to do this because there's so many people telling us we need to do it, and then you do it, and then you end up with you sell 3 pairs to the 3 people that were shouting off their 35 different accounts, and you end up with a load of stock. And every time we click the go button on a product, it's we have to commit to a pretty decent number, and the LV 1.6 is it nearly didn't happen. We nearly sort of went, oh, we don't know what we're going to do. And for us as well, we're a small company. When we introduce a new product line into it, something else has to not get built. I've got the same guys in Manchester building, the guns. So if I go, right, okay, there you go, guys, there's a load of LV 1.6s, they're going to put CS2s down, or they're going to stop building GO4s, or whatever it happens to be. So we have to sort of work out the schedule to make sure they all fit in, and then you've got to get the numbers right. And yeah, and I mean, so if people are asking where it is, because of COVID, we have not even started production of LV 1.6. I don't know exactly where it's at, but we've got all sorts of problems getting raw metal through the anodizers. We're probably at about 50% capacity of product coming through, so everything is just delayed. And 50% sort of sounds okay, you're getting half as many through, but it's just every day there's more orders coming in, and the delays are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're trying hard, and we've had to, all the offices has changed. We've got people working at social distance working. I've got a couple of staff that are on high risk that are not even allowed in the building for 18 weeks, because they've got like one of them's father's very ill, and he's not allowed to come in to do his job, and his job's quite important. So everything is just delayed, and I couldn't even tell you. I wish I could say, yeah, they're going to start leaving the building next week, but I'm not going to say that because I haven't got a clue when they're going to. I've not seen any anodized metal. So if there's no anodized metal, that means there's weeks away from assembly and testing and stuff. So sorry.
Yeah, it's tough. No, it's good. I mean, obviously, like a lot of our fans and we're getting the same kind of thing you are, right? Like, hey, when are these coming? When are these? So it's good to actually hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. What
it's ready to go. It's gone through all its testing. It's been it's been rubber stamped. It's been signed off by Jack. It's ready to go. It's just a case of if the guy who sat there at the lathe making metal if there's normally 10 of them and there's only 3 of them in work, they can only make 30%. And we're trying really hard, and we've done all sorts of different things to try and speed things up, but it's just difficult. It's life, isn't it?
I get it.
Yeah, sorry.
I get it. No, that's all good.
Blame Jack. Jack's
all right,
fault.
I'll blame Jack. I got his Facebook Messenger.
Yeah,
I'll hit him there. So all right, let's talk about like Planet Eclipse. Obviously their roots have been in tournament paintball. I'm just sort of jumping around a little bit because I see all these questions in the chat, and besides the LB2, there's a lot of questions regarding Planet and tournaments and this and that. And knowing that that's where you guys sort of cut your teeth was in tournament paintball. I just want to get some of your thoughts. I mean, you've always been one of the most, like, in all my years, whether we played MPPLs or PSPs or NXL, whatever it is, you've always been sort of outspoken in terms of like, hey, we should change this, or we should try this, like different formats and stuff like that. So like, I don't know exactly where I'm heading with this question, but I guess like if there was some type of changes, or in the NXL, if you could be the boss for the day, what kind of things would you do to make changes
for the NXL?
Yeah.
I think that I don't like watching guys laying with 13 pots on their backs. If I'm honest, I think it's got a certain level of skill. I mean, the bounce shot off bunkers and stuff like that is okay, but for me, it's not what I like in paintball. So I still play a pretty decent level. I play Division 1 in the UK, which is Elite's the highest level, and then I run a team called the Sandbaggers now, and we have an elite team, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. So so we have a load of teams, and so I still play, so I know what I'm sort of talking about. I'm not like sat in an office saying, paintball's this. I actually play in all the formats. I play Woodland, play Magfed, play everything, and we play in the UK with 3 pots and a loader. Is the format that we play there, or is it? It might be 4. Yeah, 4. Our division is 4 pots and a loader, and that's plenty. And it makes you get off your ass and move. You can't lane constantly. You can lane enough, and I'm I've ended up being a back player over the years because got fat and old, and there's plenty. I've never run out of paint in any of the events that I play. It's quick enough, and I think it makes getting people into the sport. I think it makes it you can afford it a little bit more. I think. I mean, you run a pro team. I mean, I don't even want to know what your paint bill's like for training and your paint bill for X, Y, and Z. It's. I mean, because when we used to, I played and captained Nexus for years, and look at that, me playing with an LV. That's a couple of years old as well. That's the picture. But we used to train, and you would have to play with and train with a decent amount of paint. You couldn't just train with a couple of pots and get the same out of it. I mean, obviously you can set up scenarios and things like that, but even training, we would go down there and we would do 50, 60, 70 cases of paint in a day. And luckily we were pretty heavily sponsored, but it's a lot of money, and I mean, and I'm sure you have that, and you know what it's like. When you see guys dumping loaders and pots on the floor, I bet you're going, "Oh my God, you have got no idea how much money this is costing," And with 4 pots, you can sort of calculate how much you're going to spend on the day, and it saves you a hell of a lot of money. I mean, it just does. I would like to see that. I'd like to see and I don't want it to be limited ridiculously low. When they started trying to do it in Europe and it was 2 pots on the loader, that was quite hard because you'd only take what it's like. You break out, you're all on your trigger for the first 150 rounds, aren't you? And then you put the first pot in, and then you've got one. And sometimes the lid can pop open on that, and you're basically screwed, aren't you? With 4 pots. It's enough to get on with it. The guy in the snake's got plenty of paint. Your back guys have got enough. You've got to be calculated. You can't shoot 3 pots at a bounce shot hoping you're going to get a ricochet off it. I think also that we've got this problem where people want paint to be cheaper and cheaper, but then they want really good quality as well. And I think with a lower paint consumption, I would personally spend the extra $5 a case to get the best paint. I don't want it to bounce off someone, and I think that's important as well. And then the manufacturers will, realize that as well, and then they will, you'll be able to choose the best, the best paint, whatever it happens to be, on the day, and spend your extra $5. But if you're doing it, unlimited, how much do you paint? Do you go through it per match? Do you think? Do you know?
I mean, it really depends on the layout because there are some layouts play faster than others, but there are some where you're like, oh my God, we shot 20 cases that layout, that match, or 25 cases even, like if it's a super slow one. But, you get into the ones that are like 10 or 12 cases, totally
makes a difference. But, I mean, what about when you're training? What do you take down? If you're doing a full weekend training, Saturday, Sunday, what are you shooting? I'm interviewing you now. You like this? I've turned this. I'm interviewing you.
Yeah, I mean,
Travis. So, what is it? What is it you train? 50 cases, 100 cases?
I would say it's gone down over the years. Like when it was like 15 balls per second NXL, we were probably shooting 100 plus.
Yeah.
And now it's closer to 75.
Right.
And
you probably, we got to the stage where we would shoot what we took. So we would just train until we'd run out of paint. It'd be like, right, we've got on the last case of paint, so let's go and play dodgeball or whatever it happened to be, at 5 o'clock, and then we'd be done. But it's but 75 cases of paint. You're sponsored. You don't need to talk about that part. But if you're just 5 guys, 6 guys, you're in your teens, or you're pretty young. 75 cases of paint is it's a lot of money, and it's and they want to compete, and in America it seems. I mean, I speak to Tom Cole quite a lot. I would consider him to be a pretty good friend of mine, and we talk about these things, and he says that one of the problems that they've got in America is that the lower divisions want to play unlimited still.
Yeah,
I think they like to shoot their guns.
Change.
Yeah,
but I think that would change if you started at the top and you said, hey, well, this is what the pros do, and it's not like everyone would follow suit, but if there is this goal of, like, if you ask a guy in semi-pro, hey, what's your goal? He's like, I want to play pro. And if you talk to a guy in D2, he's like, I want to be semi-pro then pro. You know what I mean? So if we start at the top and you get the pros on board, that would make sense. I just
but I think the pros is a very different bracket. Okay, so it's if you start off go-karting and then you're quite good at that, and then you go to I don't know what I know you do NASCAR and stuff, but you end up with Formula 3000. You work your way up, and then you end up with the Formula 1 racing car, and you've gone through that, and it you've got you've got a steering wheel and you've got four wheels and you go around a track, but it's very different. I mean, just because the pros, for me, those pro teams, if you played on a postage stamp size field and had 1,000 balls per second shooting at each other, that's fine. That's you guys, but there's not a lot of you. There's what, 180 guys, whatever, less than 200 guys in the world that would play at that level. Everybody else
that would affect,
so everybody else can, because you're the showcase, you're the thing that sells the thing. But I always look at it as that. Can I take my friends to go and play paintball who don't play paintball? So could I take my friends to a tournament to go and play for the first ever time? I can't, because they are going to get destroyed, right? So my old Banzai guys who'd not played for quite a few years. This was years ago. This was when the Millennium was at Nürburgring, and I flew him out there. And we were doing a lot of drinking and stuff. And he says to me, what do we do? And he was like my vice captain for Banzais for years. And I said, listen, it's fine. It's right riding a bike. You'll get it. It's fine. You'll get it. And he went, okay. So he said, what should we do? So I said, just go to that bunker there and just chill out, right? And then just get relaxed and then just come into the game. And then he said, okay. So we played away. It doesn't matter if we won or lost. But anyway, he comes off the field and he went, chill out. He goes, they did not stop. He goes, there was only 5 of the guys on the event. All 5 were shooting at me from the minute they started till the minute we finished. And I went, right. And he went, I that's mental. He goes, I go, I'm scared to death. And I went, right. And he eventually got into it. But the problem it's we need to have, for me, I think we need to sort of have transitions where you starts off slowly, and you can, and I've been involved with a couple of, there's a league in Malaysia that they now do, it's all inclusive. So what they do, and if people listening, I'd love somebody to get hold of this and start running with it. Okay, so, my son is 18, wants to go, or 15, whatever, he's going to go and play a paintball tournament. He comes up to dad and says, right, can I go play pay? Can I go and play a tournament? And I'll say to him, how much is it going to cost? And he'll go, well, the entrance fee is going to be this, and then the paint's going to be this. And if we get to the finals, guess what, Dad? We have to pay more money to get more paint.
Congratulations.
To pay the finals, right? So, Dad's going to be going, really? That's strange. So my idea is, for the very entry level stuff, is that you pay your amount of money. Let's say $75, $80, $100, whatever it happens to be. And that you all get the exact same amount of paint that you have to manage for the day. So you're going to get 8 5-man games. You're going to get 3 cases of paint for the whole team. And if you get through to the finals, you'll get another case of paint, because that's your bonus, right? So little Johnny can go up to Dad or whoever and say, can I play? And he's going, how much is it? $75, whatever the price is. It can be whatever you want. You get to $75, and Dad goes, here, have another 25 to get yourself some food or whatever on the day, and it's done. And it's because at the moment we don't have that in paintball. We don't know how much anything's going to cost us, so it's so open-ended. And what's happened in Malaysia, they've done this, and these events that but this is before COVID, were going mental on. They were filling out, and they were getting college teams and teams from the local factories and stuff all joining in, and they did it where they just had all the equipment. They supplied all the equipment as well. They had a load of my Ether 2s for one division. I think they had EMEX for another division. I think Smart Parts might have done some GOG Enemies for another division, something like that. And so they just turn up and they get the cheap ass goggle, and they get the paint, because it's only a hopper full, usually a hopper and a pot. And what they said as well is it's really generated more sales in the stores, because the stores are now going, the guy's going, I need a mask, I need a thermal mask. So they're buying a thermal mask, and then they're going, I want a better hopper. So they're getting a better hopper, and they're getting a battle pack, and they're getting a pair of pants and whatever. And so they're starting them in really, really slowly, and it's working for them really well.
Yeah.
So I would do that. So to answer your question, that's what I would do.
So you mentioned, like, you're still a player. You've competed in all these different formats and all this different stuff. Like, this is kind of a two-parted question. So, like, because I've competed against the Bonsai Bandits when I came over as Avalanche, and we played, 100 years ago. To all the way till, you currently play. I currently play. I guess
that was one of my greatest ever games against you lot. 5 of you against me, and I killed you all.
Whoa! We need to hear about this.
Yeah, I know. Is there video back then? I don't even know.
This was with Chris, when Chris Lasoy was like unstoppable machine, wasn't he? And he was, and we knew about him, and we were playing the same sort of level. It was it was at Campaign Cup, and it was just in a muddy field. I can't remember. It was pretty old. Anyway. And I think it was Weasel and stuff, and there was a big X in the middle lying down. Anyway, Chris was doing his thing on the right hand side, and I shot him, and then I run up and everyone else was shooting across at Flash. They shot Flash. I shot Chris. I ran up, mugged 2 guys, mugged Weasel in the middle, and then there was and then I ended up spinning around, and the field span, and there's a 1-on-1 with me and the other guy, and I shot him. So 5-on-1. Thank you very much.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we won that.
Way to blow it, Travis.
That's it.
I don't know.
It was easy as well. It was easy, mate. Well, sorry, go on. Back to the question.
So what I was going to get at was, okay, what was your favorite, I guess, format, if we're talking format, but then also what I wanted to get into was, like, we played back in the mechanical day all the way through. And I know, like, obviously Eclipse now makes M170s and EMAX and all these different mechanical guns. So what is your thoughts also on the, like, mechanical renaissance right now?
I personally like all of the formats. I think ramping is bad. I'd get rid of ramping as well. Back to the NXL question. I think it's just poor. And you know why, Travis, why it was invented. It was invented because it was the Wild West at one point, and everyone had cheating guns. Yeah. So it was almost like, how are we going to stop them cheating? Okay, let's not stop them. Let's just make everybody go super fast. And that was, was the problem.
So, on record, the term ramping was 100% me. Because
was it? Okay.
There was no, like, that wasn't a thing. Like, we were like, this gun ramps, dude. Like, it starts here and goes. So we just started calling it ramping, and then it went like crazy in the pro ranks. But anyways, go ahead. Like, it was.
Yeah. So I mean, I would get rid of ramping. I think semi's a skill to be able to shoot fast left and right handed. I think it's a skill. The mechanical side of things I quite enjoy. I've only played one tournament. I played the UK 10-man, but it didn't stop raining for 3 days. It was absolutely atrocious, and I sort of enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. They had it wasn't the greatest event. They had a concept field which ended up not being very good, and they had a woodland field that was pretty badly laid out. In the woods, it's fine because you're popping up, you're taking, you can rip off, really quick, but you can't sustain. And in the woods, you don't sustain anyway. You're not just sitting there ramping, shooting your gun as fast as you can. You sort of up, down, take your shots, make a move. You're scurrying around. But in the concept field, it was like, it felt like hard work a lot of the time. Sort of going, and I'm like, and it wasn't fun, And for me, paintball is still about having as much fun as I can. So in the woods, I love the mechanical, but on the concept stuff, it was there was certain spots. There were like these very solid wooden structures that he'd made. So there was a certain spot you could sit and you just have to like cane at someone, and I just went, oh, this is boring. So I didn't have a great experience of my first, my mech tournament at least. But I've played loads of mech stuff, and I love it. You know, I'll go and play scenario games, big games, and I prototyped the EMEX before we launched him. You know, and the PALS loader and all that sort of stuff. You know, no batteries at all, and I love it. And I don't personally. I mean, I understand why the 5.5 thing exists, and that's something I sort of got involved with because I'm a bit of a believer of don't stop somebody from playing. Okay, so i.e. if it's a mechanical only event, but this guy who's got a load of money, he wants to buy the absolute best, you know, DNA infamous CS2 Pro, right? Why stop him doing that? We can't. For me, we can't. So we just lower his rate of fire down, and it's also we don't want to put barriers up to stop people playing. So if someone says, "Oh, I've got my CS2 Pro," but it's a mech only. What do we want him to have to go and buy a mech gun?
No. Yeah,
so you know, so if he goes, I might not even enjoy it, you know, and then he'll go, well, okay, I'll give it a go, and he might go and buy a mech gun because he loves it, and that's fine. Or you know, if we do mech frames and that sort of thing. So that's for me, I've always been quite let's stop the barriers. But now we've got people. The arms race is almost back on again, isn't it? With mechs, you know, I mean, you do a range of bull race triggers and that sort of thing, and people are making the hair trigger and things like that, but we're back up to where we're trying to get to be sort of fast again. And
well, I think there's something like satisfying when you shoot someone mechanical. Obviously, like it's if it's a 5.5 electronic gun, there really is no difference. Like you're pulling the trigger, the guy gets shot. But if it's a mechanical gun, there's a little tactile thing, and there's only one shot per pull. I don't know. There's something to me.
It's that little snap. It's that little bite that you're talking about when you just send that one ball, and you're like, man, that felt good.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus Davis is, has always been the captain of the Predators in the UK. He's sort of, he's strapped on the campaign of, mech only and, getting and doing that sort of side of things. And for me, and he's saying because he wants it to be the whole woodland craft of being able to crawl and to do this and to learn the fields and to be skillful. And he says sometimes you can't do that when the guys are shooting 10.5 ramping left-handed without really thinking about it. You're looking one way and shooting the other, and I get that. So I'm just again, it's for me. I would limit the paint. I'd go. You don't need more than 4 or 5 pots in the woods. So it doesn't really matter what rate of fire you've got at that point. And that, and I'd still do 5.5 for the electros because I think there are still some advantages of the electros. If certain hoppers, if they're force fed and then you're shooting a mech and running, I mean, there was days when I played pro, you wouldn't run and shoot because you just chop your paint every time. You couldn't do it.
Or you're just going like this.
Yeah. You just go chop, and it'd just be this mush, and you're going to go handy, And it's where now I'd sort of go, you can do that if you've got the right loader and the right sort of marker. But I'd just limit the paint for even in the woods. And again, that makes it a little bit cheaper and it makes it more accessible to everybody. And I think making it accessible is sort of the key, really. And
right.
And it's I mean, someone's just put up on the chat then about our EMEX a game changer for the money. It's we built that initially not really for the mech resurgence, the old school ballers. We made it because we wanted there to be a better experience for the players at the paintball fields, and we sort of said, there's not been really a huge change for a long time, and we sort of went, we think we can do a better job at this, and we think we can make the experience for the first time player pretty good, and that's why that's what we designed, and we and it was never going to be the cheapest, site rental marker. It wasn't going to be. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be, and but the people who've got it love it. They said the customers love it. The experience is good. The maintenance is lower. Blah 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 blah. Sales pitch now, but it's but that I'm just saying it's the reason we're doing these things is because it's not like, oh, how can we make money out of this? It's how can we make the experience for that particular sector better? We've done it. I mean, I've started playing MagFed, because we made a MagFed marker, and it's I don't know if you've ever played it, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun, man. It's like it's pretty cool. It's excuse me, it's I've had some great times. I go down. I've been with my brother who doesn't play. Took him with me, set him up with a gun, and he went and played, tac vest, and we played at a CQB venue, and we running in and out of buildings, throwing smoke grenades at each other, and having a blast. And it's I play all the different formats, and I love them all. I mean, I fell out of love a little bit of the airball game. But only when it started getting faster and faster, and I was getting slower and slower, and I was sort of struggling to sort of make sure that I felt. I didn't ever want to play anything that I couldn't feel competitive in. If I couldn't do it, and I'd come home from the odd tournament, and I'd sacrifice that weekend to be away with my mates rather than my wife and kids. And I'd come in the door, and the wife would go, "How'd you get on?" And I go, "Yeah, didn't really enjoy today." She'd go, "How come?" I go, "Well, I got shot to pieces, didn't kill many people, let my mate down, I did this, I did that." And but then you sort of find your groove a little bit again, don't you? And you maybe it was because I'm trying to push my body a little bit harder than maybe what I should have done. And when it's like you sort of still think you can do it. I mean, I still think I can do it in the woods. I still think I'm relevant in the woods. But sometimes I get down. I'm like, oh God, my knees are killing me. I'll stay in this bunker just a little bit longer than I should because I'm almost stretching my hamstring out a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I've played I still play all the formats, and I still sort of love them all really. But the mech's good, but they're all good. I like them all.
Have you seen the new one-on-one league that's going on?
I saw a little bit of it. Yes. Yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, I don't know what their numbers are like. People watching it. I mean, it's I like it. I like any format. I mean, I think it's funny, isn't it? Where you've sort of got to the point where it's almost like, right, we want you to smack talk the other guy so much, it's almost going to fight, and then 5 seconds later they're all like hugging, and it's like, "Hi, how you doing?" It's like, oh. But no, I love it. It's UFC, isn't it? For paintball, it's I mean, one of the problems with paintball is that even when you look at that, it looks explosive, but we're not seeing the shots, are we? That when the people get hit, you just sort of go, "Yeah, I'm out," and the referee runs in. And I've spoken to people in the past, and one of the big things that people have told me, and I don't know how true this is, that when we get to 8K video cameras that are accessible on the field, you can actually see the paintballs traveling at 8K. Because it can catch it in the frame rate, so you'd almost see like laser beams sort of going, so you can see where people are shooting. Because you guys, you might post up on someone, you're not necessarily going to shoot, So, but from somebody who hasn't got a clue, he just thinks you're shooting the whole time. Well, you're not, are you? So there's I think it's great. I think any type of format that makes people interested in it and captures their imagination is fantastic. Period.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I think honestly, like you brought up a good point with the 8K thing. Even back in the day when like the film Push came out and Patrick would slow it way down so you could see the paint. I mean, that's what made it epic, was just the ability to actually see the projectile in the air. And it's why we play paintball and not laser tag, right? We're actually shooting things at people. So.
Well, I've started playing laser tag with my kids, right? Just I've got quite a big wooded area near my house, and my kids are 7 and 5, so I can't play paintball with them, and I don't want to scare them off. I want to sort of get to the stage a bit later on, and I'm playing laser tag, and I'm like hating it. I'm like going, I can't tell if I've shot him or if and I'm like,
he's covering the sensor.
Oh, and I'm just getting so angry about it, and I'm sort of going, and I'm almost sort of saying to the wife, she's like, "What's up with you?" And I'm going, well, there's no feedback. I want them to. It needs to be the paintball, and it isn't. And I'm sort of going, I can't wait for them to go and play some sort of mini paintball games. But I'm not going to take them till the time's right, because I don't want to be the pushy, ex-pro dad who owns a paintball company who must go and do this. So I've taken them down to a couple of laser places and the outdoors, and I've had Nerf. There's a Nerf arena near us. They've been down and sort of played that, they've got so many bloody Nerf guns. It's unreal. So it's it's not laser's not paintball, is it?
Right on. Well, I guess while we're on the topic of industries and different industry, I know we don't have a ton of time, so there was a couple key questions.
You need to see my vodka gun. While we're on,
I like that.
Spread that out. There you go.
This is my one of my presents off my guys. Nice bit of vodka gun. So
I like that.
You gotta have a vodka gun.
I got a
Sorry.
I got a Modelo and a Yeti. So obviously, like, the fields are around the world. I guess a lot are closed. In the United States and in certain areas, we're starting to slowly open back up. Um, Planet's always been really like in the forefront of like, let's put together like industry wide marketing concepts. Let's, get behind play paintball campaigns. But in your opinion, like, what can we do as things open up to sort of, boost paintball back up, to get it back on its feet?
Well, one of the campaigns that we got involved in right at the very beginning, as soon as, it was sort of driven, sort of GI and a few of the other guys got involved with it, was the Paintball Strong campaign. And the whole idea behind that was that we need to keep paintball up front and in focus in everybody's mind. So we sort of, it's almost a case of, this is what you're missing, and that when we can get out of lockdown and we can go back playing wherever you are in the world, we want you to sort of see the imagery and the cool photographs and the videos, etc. of paintball, that in sort of, so hopefully you'll go, oh, I missed that, I want to go and play it again. One of the problems I have, and it frustrates me a lot, is there are a lot of people out there that say, what can the industry do to help? And we can only do so much. We can do some advertising and we can, that sort of thing. But if every single paintball player shared and liked every single cool post that goes out there, you don't have to, not every single one, just the ones that are cool, that, and onto their own feeds, so that all of their mates who don't play paintball go, oh, that looks cool. I didn't really know. I knew you play paintball, but I didn't know do you not just roam around in the woods and stuff? Actually, no, I play airball, and it's like there's tournaments. You still get that now, don't we? But nobody well, I'm not saying nobody. There are some people that I'm sure are fantastic at it, but there are others that are they're just not. And I do it myself. I'm dead lazy. I'm scanning through Facebook and you just go through it, don't you? And every now and again I go, oh, I should stop and I should click like or I should click share, and it's an effort. It is an effort, and we're all lazy, and everybody's lives is going at 1,000 miles an hour. But every now and again, you just have to stop and go, okay, I love paintball, I love what it's doing, but I need to make sure that all my friends know about it. So it was my it was my 50th birthday in April, and for my 50th, I decided to take all my family and all my friends that don't play paintballing. So, I phoned up a few sites that I know and said, can I come down? Yeah, we can do this. And I was going to go down to Jed's place, MPF, and just take them all there and sort of go, right, this is what I do. Go and have some fun, and that's what, if we can all take our friends and go and show them, because that's how we all started. I mean, I was the pest who went, I used to go to the pub and go, come on, let's go, sign up to my, my sheet to come play paintball, and then you go to the pub and you just talk about it, and you end up getting rid of a load of friends, don't you? Because they're like bored to death of it. But the ones that stick around get it, but there's still, I mean, I would say about 80-90% of my friends have never played paintball, so I think that's important. I think we should share stuff. I think we should create stuff. I mean, at the moment, the campaign is Paintball Strong, so it's hashtag Paintball Strong if you're interested in doing that. We have a Planet Eclipse run a Facebook page, which is non-political. I'm just getting the right name for it before I go and say the wrong thing. Yeah, it's just Play Paintball on Facebook. Play Paintball TV, and we put up really positive images on there all the time, which is it just for you to share, to grab, share, do what you want with. If you're a field owner, grab these images and throw them up there. The videos that we put up are pretty cool, and it's just about telling people about paintball, because we all know it's amazing.
Yep. No, I know.
So
and I think that the reason I kind of was asking you those questions is, people have been stuck in their house for months, right?
Yeah.
They've watched every video there is on YouTube. The internet is over, and I feel like we have a real opportunity to grab people, to get them off the couch. They're done playing video games. They're over it.
Yeah. I think I think the experience of the game needs to be improved massively as well. John Jones. All right, John, how you doing? Good friend of mine. He's coming around tomorrow, I think. He's got to look for an old Banzai jacket and drop it off at my house. So he said he's going to find out
John
tonight.
also mentioned that you still owe your dad that money.
Yes. No, I paid him back. I put it in a kettle, actually. Paid it back in a kettle, $5,000 in a kettle, randomly, because the kettle broke at the house. So that was his interest. The experience that is offered by the paintball fields, by a lot of them, isn't good enough. If you talk to younger people, like my babysitter that comes to my house, she went zip wire, these big long zip wire things, and she went on one of those. And I said to her, I've heard it's pretty cool. Tell me about it. So she's telling me about it, and I said, how long did it last? She said, it's about 90 seconds. I was like, okay, quick. And I said, how much was it? And she's like, it's about $75, $80. And I said, oh God, I bet you're pissed off about that. She's like, no, I thought it was amazing. So I was like, so I said, I mean, and so I've been and done it since then. And you get, you get a red coverall, and you get a briefing, and you get a harness on, and then you get in a van, and they drive you up to this top of this mountain, and then there's all these cameras, and they film it, and you get a little video at the end, that sort of thing. So what I'm trying to say is it's an experience. So it could be they just go, meet you up there, and then and walk down the hill or whatever, and it could be crap, and they won't get like the red overalls that we all put on. They're not needed. I'm going down a zip wire for 90 seconds. I mean, what's going to happen? And but they do the whole 9 yards, and you get a photograph, and it's pretty cool, and you get a little YouTube video that you can share with your social media, and there's so much better experiences that we can offer for paintball. And I mean, America is one of the weird places for me where there's hardly any of the paintball parks that give people coveralls, or the jumpsuits or whatever, the camouflage jumpsuits. And that's a real bugbear of mine, because I see these videos being made of guys that are in their wife beater t-shirt and basketball shorts. They haven't turned up at that venue thinking, I'm not going to get anything to wear. They've turned up thinking, when I get there, I'm going to put my camouflaged overall on. So the way I'd explain it as well is that if you go go-karting, like to a proper go-kart track, in the UK, you get like the proper zip-up coveralls, that you do you wrap around the neck and all that, and then you get like a hood, that you pull on, like a flame retardant hood, and you put your helmet on. From that second, you are a racing driver. Yeah. So for me, when you go to play paintball, we need to turn these guys into, I'm not on about turning them into some paramilitary weirdos, but we need to turn them into like secret agents, or into special forces, or to whatever it happens to be. We need to sell the story, and we need to make it an experience. And it doesn't have to be about how many paintballs you shoot at that venue. I mean, if I was starting a venue now, I'd probably put MagFed on there. I'd give them all a tack vest. Yeah. And I'd say, I can go, the price I'd go, right, it's all inclusive for $75. And they go, all inclusive. Yeah. As many paintballs as you can shoot, but you're only going to get 4 magazines. Yeah. And then what you do is you're around the zone, like, if you're playing Call of Duty, or, whatever you're playing, there's always, ammo drops or ammo crates you can find. Just put them around the arena, around the arenas. And then, you go, there's a pop of red smoke, and then there's a crate there. You get over to it. It's in the middle of, a dead zone. You all go over there for a battle. You open it up, and it's got 5 magazines in there and a smoke grenade. You pass them out to your teammates, and you go in the next battle, and it's sort of mission based. And for me, I think that's where we need to go to make the sport better. I mean, when I started, they basically put a bit of red and white tape up, kicked a bunch of bushes or logs into a pile, and then my imagination took over at that point, and I was in war. I mean, it was like, it was you're trying to control your breathing, you're sweating, you're doing, the next day you're so knackered, and you ran about 5 feet. It was so hard. Where nowadays, I think the imagination part is almost gone, because there's so many more visual things we can do. We can play computer games, watch some amazing TV shows, the flick of a button, on demand. So we need to give these guys a better experiences. It would be my sort of magic wand to make these things better, and sort of just go, it's time for a change, guys. And if we all expect to come out of this and just sort of carry on, then we'll do okay. And I think some sites will vanish, and some sites will do well. I mean, there are a lot of venues that are doing really well, and and they do offer a very good experience. and I just wish more would sort of embrace it a bit more. Really,
Yeah.
I know it's hard,
No,
easy
that's a
saying
good-
it, isn't it? You know.
No, I like that. I like the concept. I've been saying it for years. Obviously, we're selling this whole experience, and we all have to do a better job at the entire experience, and don't just let them have a birthday party and then never come back, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's take them through the whole progression.
Yeah.
We are kind of running over time, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to give us any sort of intel on any new Planet products, anything you want to tease us with, anything you can. Now's your chance.
It's I mean, I haven't got any. Honestly, it's
Don't hold back. Don't hold back now.
I mean, I tell you one brand new product, right? Okay, it's exclusive. Jack will kill me. Okay, it's not an LV2, so don't get too excited, anybody. I've been asking Jack to make me a gun-mounted, so a wall-mounted gun stand for years, literally years, and he's done it. And I'm like, well, I mean, he's done it before. He did it about 2 years ago, and then it never happened. And then he did it about a year ago. I mean, I'm talking about 10 years ago. I asked him to make this thing. And it's almost like the constant thing where we'll have a list of what's the next job on the list. LV2 is always on there, obviously. And then at the end, he goes, I think that's all the things we're looking at. And we're like, yep. And then I'll go gun stand. And he'll go, all right, gun stand. So while he's been off, I think he's been sat there doing a little bit of design work along with Matt. So I saw a drawing of it today. So I mean, it's not really that exciting, but because I've got a few cool guns around in my office, and
vodka gun.
I have got a vodka gun, but I've got like our special edition ones, and I've got some other stuff in my office, and I want to put them on my wall. And we've never had a wall-mounted gun stand, so he's making. So we're going to have one of those, cutting edge. Do you like it? That's the way forward. Travis love it. No, it's not what you wanted.
Product release I wanted, but
no. I mean, one of the things in the UK that we could have done was our government were pretty good. We were doing the furloughing thing where we could put our staff all on furlough, and they would get paid 80% of their wage by the government, from the beginning of lockdown. But with all our R&D guys, Jack and Matt and those guys and Flash, they've stayed on full work, and they've continued to design and develop going forward. We sort of got to the stage where we sort of said, what do we do? Do we put them on furlough as well and save a bunch of money? And we sort of said, well, it's we want to carry on going forward. We haven't stopped, basically. It's we're looking. I mean, me and Jack I saw Jack today, and we were going through new products for the future, and so there isn't anything. I mean, it's not that I'm not telling you. There's nothing to. I mean, I don't get to see a lot of this stuff until it's sort of started through.
You guys are so secretive.
I know. It's until it's got a name. The naming of stuff is the hardest. I don't know what you feel like now. I mean, it's the amount of time. Oh, it's just. I mean, you've got trademarks and copyrights on names and stuff, and everybody's got every other name. It's like a nightmare. So until it's got a name, we keep it all very much under wraps. But we're definitely working. The guys in the chat's got some quite good, some sort of things that he's got going on. We've just launched we launched a O-ring app. Which it's an O-ring app, but the reason we've done that is we Flash decided he wanted to learn how to write apps himself, so this was like his sort of first one. So it just means we can get a little bit more involved in that type of stuff. So we're doing stuff. It's happening. There's things going on at Planet. I know there's orders for new stuff going in all the time and prototyping, and that's one of the things that's causing. And you probably have the same with your manufacturing. Is that prototyping is usually quite quick, but at the moment it's huge delays, and these delays, like the CF20 continuous mag that we've created, we keep tweaking it because it's not quite right. We actually sent some out to California to some of our beta testers, and in the super hot, we had a problem with one of the parts on it. So we was like, oh, right, okay, back to the drawing board on that part. So then you have to go off and get a new part made, and you add an extra level of material in it. I'm not really technical, whatever it is, and but then instead of that being 7 days and then it comes over on a plane, it's now 3 weeks and we have to put it on a boat. because there's no flight coming out of that region in Taiwan or wherever it happens to be. So everything is just so delayed. I mean, Jack said to me today, he said, I've got so many projects that are just waiting for prototype things to come. I mean, we get a lot of our stuff 3D printed prototypes, and we don't have it in house. We use a company to 3D print stuff, but even that's delayed like mad. And sometimes we're having to go to another 3D printing house who can do certain type of blah blah. And so I'm moaning basically, aren't I? Sorry. It's Friday night.
It's all good.
It's nearly 10 o'clock
night.
on a Friday night in the UK. I should be in the pub if any of them are open.
Well, you got the vodka gun right there,
I know,
so you're good to go.
Yeah.
Let's let it rip. Well, hey, it's been awesome. I do appreciate you coming on the show. Hopefully we can have you on again at some later date when we're out of quarantine.
Yeah. Anytime. I mean, I know you had a bunch of questions that I'm sure we haven't got anywhere near.
We'll do a part 2.
Yeah,
we'll do a part 2.
If people want me on and they want to talk and ask me questions, and I'm happy to talk to anybody. It's we go back years, and I've always got a soft spot for you guys. So give me a shout, hit me up.
Right on. Thanks, Ledz. I appreciate it, brother.
No problem.
All right, we're gonna take this thing out of here. Cal.
Oh.
I just wanted to thank our sponsor list for the show. Obviously, Planet Eclipse, best markers in the game, whether it's mech or rental or tournament or whatever. They got the best marker. Pro Sharp paint, most incredible paint right now. Push goggles, it's in the details. Comfort and breathability, they've got it all. Nike custom performance cleats, Bunker Kings, the top loaders in the sport of paintball. Powerhouse, the regs the pros choose. Infamous Paintball, custom jerseys, joggers, protection, you name it. First Form, Pro DNA, which is our minimalist protection, where there's actually a sale going on right now, so check it out. That's it. Thanks everybody for watching.
Okay, stay safe everybody. Paintball strong.